Georgia Tech 66, Virginia 60. Virginia finishes the season with a 15 and 17 overall record. First time they've been under 500 in quite some time. Riley, we talked in the preview about Stoudemire having some stuff ready for big games and the fact that this Georgia Tech has had some things in big spots. You got 21 points from Duncan Powell. You got 16 points from Ndongo inside. Nate George gave you 13 to go along with 10 boards, 8 assists. He was phenomenal. What did you see from the Yellow Jackets that allowed them to win this game?
Yeah, the first guy you mentioned, I thought Duncan Powell was really good in this game, kind of doing a little bit of everything. He knocked down a couple pull-up jumpers. He was good, like just underneath the basket from the dunker spot. They use it as a screener sometimes. Other possessions, he put the ball on the deck. He would use a spin move to get to the basket. And I mean, he shot 7 for 9 from the floor in the second half. And Georgia Tech really needed a spark. I mean, they were down two at halftime in this one,
Mhm.
and kind of had a no-show from Lance Terry. I was about to say Lance Terry, one of their better shooters, had the sound in my mind. But yeah, no show from Lance Terry and needed some extra offense, and they got it from him. I don't know, this Georgia Tech team, they've been inconsistent. They've been a bit of an enigma all year when you look at
Mhm.
some of the tough losses they've taken contrasted to the big time wins they've gotten. I don't really know exactly what their identity is, other than they're just pretty physical in the paint, and they sort
Yeah,
of let Nathan George cook and find open guys. And it's still an interesting makeup because you look at someone like Biden Dongo, who's I would say has a pretty slight frame, but I mean pulled off a double double, and this one had 4 blocks in addition. And like it doesn't make sense how they're able to play as physical as they do when you kind of would just look at them on paper. But I think that's probably the most imposing and intimidating thing about them is they don't really back down.
yeah. It's somewhat chaotic. Like it feels unorganized at times, which
Yes.
I think is something by design because Stoudemire likes to give his guys freedom, and that sometimes leads to college age players doing silly things, right? That
Right.
leads to some of that inconsistency, but the strength is inside, right? With Ndongo and Powell, particularly when Powell's playing like this. This is one of the better games he's had this season. Virginia was Isaac McNeely and nobody else too,
McNeely
which
is
helped.
McNeely's a freaking hooper, man. He's so good. I mean, Georgia Tech, I thought was their late game execution was terrible. They were missing free throws. They were turning the ball over. Even that sideline out of bounds play where Jacob Kofi broke free for a wide open dunk, and there was like not a
Mhm.
defender within like 2 feet of him. But at the same time, like McNeely just knocking down those shots to at least give Virginia a chance, I thought was really impressive and is emblematic of his entire season, where he's the one who always shows up. He's still shot at such a high clip, which I think is not like you really can't just turn your nose at that with how little help he has. This is just
Right.
a really bad roster.
I I think it would be a lot of fun to see him play somewhere else next year for like not to be away from Virginia, but to play for like a contender who can utilize that shooting because it's a special skill that he has.
Yeah.
That being said, like he feels very Virginia-y. Maybe it's because we've just seen him there play such a big role there for 3 years. Um, but going back to the Georgia Tech's winning the inside, they won the rebounding battle 44 to 26 in this game.
Bro, that's like I mean, I know Virginia's about to hire a new coach, but I think as you know, you and I have our college years, our formative years were during like the Bennett Golden days, and
Yeah.
thinking of some of the bigs they had. You want to talk about physicality when you had guys like Jack Salt, Anthony Gill, Isaiah Wilkins, Mamadi Diakite. Those dudes are never going to lose a rebounding battle. What'd you say the final margin was?
44 to 26.
Yeah, by nearly 20 boards. That's pretty good depiction of how this like just how this program has fallen and how I mean how needed it is for a change.
I think that's one thing to watch at Georgia Tech is, the inside dominance was there. Virginia allows you to do that because Buchanan has not been the best. Jacob Kofi has not been the best. There's been inconsistencies there.
Right.
Both of them need to play stronger, more consistently. Um, it's different going up against Virginia than it will be against Duke.
Mhm.
Georgia Tech now gets the honor of playing in the ACC quarterfinals on Thursday. I well for a full preview for that game on the channel. Let's make sure you check that out. See anything from Georgia Tech in this game that gives you optimism or more hope than you had about a potential upset?
I think Nate George has a little bit of that edge to him, a little bit of dog in him, so to speak, to where I don't think he's gonna back down. He's like one of those fearless types of dudes. I mean, he took it to Duke last year as a true freshman who was unheard of coming out of Canada. He's the kind of guy I would have confidence in where he probably is going in tomorrow thinking they're gonna win this game. I like that well, on one hand, I like that Georgia Tech strengths line up with Duke strengths, like the size and the physicality on the inside. On the other side of the coin, I just imagine even by Ndonga. Like I love his game. I love how hard he plays. I love how he's always around the ball when it's a loose ball and he's going for a rebound. I love how he can make those athletic splash plays, sliding over to swat a shot at the rim. But if you stand him next to Common Malawash, Malawash is going to tower over him. You
Yeah,
know, like Malik Brown is a lot stronger than him and can push him around a little bit. So I don't know. It's not impossible. It kind of depends on where Duke's at mentally, I think. But it would not be completely shocking, but it at the same time seems very unlikely.
yeah. Another Nate George near triple double, I think, is the minimum required to start thinking about it for Georgia Tech. But again, full preview for that game is up on the channel, so make sure you check that out and also like and subscribe.